60 and 35 roll with the complimentary plays, and I've got another freebie coming up on the Mid-American Showdown tonight between Kent and Akron, with first place at stake in the MAC. Of course, I've been on a red-hot roll in basketball. Not only tonight going for basketball winner number 23 out of 36 overall, but the Raise the Bar 20 dime releases. Long term, 55 out of 87. Short term, number 10 out of 13 over the past 4 weeks. That's going to be on Siena and Manhattan. Another one of those little under the radar games that I love to concentrate on in college hoops. But listen, quickly, I want to talk about the genesis behind the winner I had last night on Southern Mississippi. There were two games that I had handicapped yesterday that I really was focusing on. And a matter of fact, a number of the guys at the site used the other game, which turned out to be a loser. The two games, Southern Miss, which I used, a 1.5 point underdog at Troy State. The other one was Florida Atlantic, a team that has just been phenomenal this year. I think they had a 20-game winning streak going into last night's game at UAB. They were a virtual pick-em affair. Both teams, Southern Miss and Florida Atlantic, played down to the wire games against their respective opponents in the first go-round earlier this season. And I was just handicapping the game. And one thing I always apply when I'm looking at games in rematches, and especially in the case of these two contests yesterday. I remember when I was in college, I was a double major, journalism major and also marketing and advertising. In the toughest class I had in my 4 years, it was investigative journalism. And in that particular class, we always used to have famous figures come in and we had to interview them and then write stories after the fact. The investigative journalism professor, who was a woman, sat at the back of the class. We had a small class, only 8 or 9 people. We had a very decorated Philadelphia detective come in, talk about one of his most famous cases where he had to rescue somebody who was in peril, break into a basement, go down into this dark, dimly lit room, subdued 2 assailants, one of whom was armed. And she kept, after everybody had asked all the questions, she kept bugging me about, ask him how tall he is, ask him how tall he is. And I thought, what a stupid question. So I finally asked, and he said he was 5'8". At the end of the interview session, he disclosed that the 2 guys he subdued, one was 6'1", the other was 6'3". One of them was armed. And the thing I came to the conclusion that day, again, I just told you what his height was, and one of the assailants was armed, is never accept the fact that the emperor is wearing no clothes. Always ask why. So as I'm handicapping those 2 games, and I've always applied that little rule of thumb when I'm handicapping games. Why were those lines so close yesterday? Florida Atlantic, a team that has just been incredible this year, 1 loss, and had won 20 straight, starting with a win in Gainesville against Florida. Virtual pick'em last night against UAB. Something just didn't seem right. I can't tell you what it is. I mean, on paper, it just looked like a tremendous mismatch. But then I came back to that Southern Miss game, the one that I used. And I look at Southern Miss, a team that had totally revamped its roster, a team that had played so damn well. Yeah, the first game against Troy, it was close, I think 64-60. But I looked at the metrics between those 2 teams, and I looked at Troy, and I'm going, damn, the Trojans just aren't that good. I didn't care if the game was in Troy, Alabama last night. I just thought Southern Miss was clearly the play. I didn't care. The odds makers weren't telling me anything with the number. They were the superior team, and they deserved to get my money and yours too. And you saw the Golden Eagles, the 1.5 point road dog, won the game outright by 9. Sometimes, again, you just have to take action and not ask so many questions. It is, after all, gambling. It's a 50-50 proposition. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Some days you're right, some days you're wrong. There are no guarantees in gambling. I've been telling you that since I used to have my nationwide sports gambling talk show many years ago. That's why we do it. Okay, let's get... Oh, by the way, I'll be the half-price play of the day once again today. and all your discounts and promos are over on the homepage. Let's get to the Kent game against Akron. So Akron is a 2-point home dog tonight, right? And I'm going to apply the same logic here when I look at this game. Akron, 16-6 overall, 8-1 in conference play, just like Kent, 10-0 at home, and they carry a 7-game win streak into this contest. And you know what happened last year. Kent won both regular season meetings, but then it was Akron that won the Mid-American Conference tournament game, the championship game, that propelled the Zips into the dance, and of course they made some noise there. So Kent clearly has revenge on its mind. These two teams very close to each other, but the game is being played at the Jar, so Akron clearly has the home court advantage. Now, Kent is on a 12-1 roll. I can't tell you how Kent lost that one game in that 13-game stretch to Northern Illinois, but this is still a quality Golden Flashes team, a team that is 18-4 on the season, 8-1 in MAC play, just like Akron, 6-4 on the road. So you go, okay, Akron's at home. They're not even laying 3 points, right? They're a 2-point favorite. Akron is clearly the choice here. That's where I think you make your mistake. Because I look at how these teams accumulated their losses, not their wins, their losses. I look at the non-conference slate for these two teams. Forget about what they did in the Mid-American Conference, okay? I look at how Akron accumulated those 6 losses. They lost in Philadelphia by 19 points to Mississippi State. They're supposed to lose to Mississippi State, but Miss State isn't that good, okay? Then they went to the Cayman Islands Classic. They lost by 15 to LSU. Well, LSU sucks. They lost by 4 to Nevada. Now, Nevada's good when Nevada's playing in Reno. They lost by 9 points to Marshall. Marshall isn't any good. They also lost by 19 points at Bradley. Bradley, a good team at home, a bad team when you take Bradley on the road. Their non-conference or their Mid-American Conference loss by 7 points at Ball State. Again, I don't care about that. But then I look at the 4 losses that Kent State has endured this season. The one I already told you about in conference to Northern Illinois, we cross that off the docket. The other 3 losses, all non-conference, right? They lost by 2 at College of Charleston, a 2-loss team this season, a team that just lost its 2nd game of the year last Saturday. They lost by 5 at Houston. Not bad, right? And they lost a couple of days later at Gonzaga by 7. That's it. Kent has played a much tougher schedule. Kent is a team that I think tonight is going to win this game outright as the 2-point dog. Also, and I can't pronounce the guy's name, Akron's leading scorer, Xavier, let me give it a shot, Castaneda. I hope I didn't butcher that. He has scored 32 points in 3 of their last 4 games to lead them to wins. Now, he averages 20.9 points per game this season. I think he's number 18 in the nation in scoring. You cannot win consistently with that type of output, nor can you expect a guy to consistently put that type of output out there, especially since Kent is a damn good defensive team. This is a team that allows 64 points a game on 39.4% opponent's field goal percentage, and a team that forces 16.5 turnovers a game. And Kent is a balanced scoring team offensively. So I think Kent wins the game outright, and Kent is going to be your complimentary play. So that'll do it. I wish you well, and talk to you again soon. Good luck, everybody.